Hi everyone, in today's tutorial we're going to be looking at how to customise t-shirts using heat transfer vinyl. For this craft today I'm going to be using my Cricut maker. I've also got two different colours of heat transfer vinyl. Heat transfer vinyl is also known as iron-on. We have got a weeding tool, some scissors, a tape measure and some t-shirts. These are 100% cotton. Heat transfer vinyl is pretty good for getting started and customizing t-shirts because it does adhere well to most materials. So just look out for some cheap t-shirts. I purchased my t-shirts from buyt-shirtsonline.co.uk, but you can just pick up t-shirts from the supermarket, Amazon, anywhere really, and they will be just as good. To get started, first thing we need to do is head over into Design Space to create the designs we're going to put on the front of the t-shirts. If you're a beginner, the best way to start by customizing your t-shirts is just to customize them using text. First thing we need to do is we need to click on the text icon at the side of the canvas, and that's going to bring us up our text box, and in there we just need to type in the text that we're going to use. So in this one I'm going to type "Be kind." Up here we can see the font box, and if we click on there it brings up a drop down menu and you can choose from Cricut fonts, or you can use fonts that you've purchased that are already on your system. So for this one I'm going to type in a font that I've already purchased. The font I'm going to be using is called BFC Paris Stacked Font. So this is a stacked font, so as we can see now it's brought up this really funky design where it says "Be kind," and I quite like that, and it's quite on trend. If you're looking for inspiration for the front of your t-shirts and for possible designs, Etsy is a good place to look because they have a vast variety of t-shirts that are trending and on trend at the moment, so that can give you some good ideas as to what you might want to put on the front of your t-shirt. So that's one of the fonts that I'm going to use on one of my t-shirts, so we'll just leave that there for now, and we're just going to click on the text box again and we're going to type in text for the second t-shirt. So for this one I'm going to type in "Mum of Boys," and it's typed it in the same font, but that's fine because we can just go back up to the font box, click on the box, bring down the list, we can clear the search, and the font I'm going to use for this t-shirt is called Strawberry Dreams, and I'm going to use the block version of it to make it quite chunky looking, and that's how that one looks, quite like that. And then underneath there I'm just going to click on the text box again, and in this one I'm going to type in #outnumbered, and then we're just going to click on that, and that's going to allow us to drag it down. And again I'm going to change the font, so I'm going to click up here on the font box, I'm going to clear the search, and the font I'm going to use for this one, Rainy Shine, and that's the one. So we're just going to click on that and that will change the font. At this point you can choose any font that you like. All crafters have their favourite fonts, but these are the ones that I chose that I thought would be best for my t-shirts today. Now we've got the fonts that we're going to use, what we need to do now is we need to measure the front of the t-shirts and alter the size of our designs to make sure that they're going to fit. Both of my t-shirts are the same size, so we only need to measure one of them. So taking the tape measure, we're just going to measure across, and I've obviously got a huge space. Obviously the Cricut mat is only 12 inches wide. You can use a longer mat if you want to. You can use a 12 inch by 24 inch mat if you wanted to make a longer design, but the 12 by 12 mat is going to be fine for us. With the 12 inches that's going to give me loads of room, so I can just make my text a nice size. So I think I'm going to go with roughly 8 inches, and if I keep the lock on it will alter the height accordingly, which is going to be perfect. So back over in Design Space we're going to click on the Be Kind one first, and up here we can see the sizes. So I'm just going to change that to make the width straight 8 inches, and as we can see it's altered the height in proportion. Now for the bottom one we've got two separate lines of text, so we just want to try and line that up as best we can, and then we're going to select both of the words, and we can see now that there's a box around it, and I'm going to attach those together. And now if I move that round, that has now become one design. So when I alter the size it will alter all of the text together. So again we're going to pop up to the width box, and I'm going to change that to 8 inches, and again it's altered the height in proportion. Now that we're happy with the text and the sizes, we're now ready to head over to make it. So we just need to click on the Make It button at the top of the canvas. Now that's going to show us a Prepare Mat screen. As we can see we've got both of our designs on here, so I'm going to put the Be Kind one at the top, and I'm going to put the Mum of Boys one at the bottom. Because we're using heat transfer vinyl vinyl or iron on, we need to make sure that we mirror the design. So we just need to click on the mirror button over on the left hand side, and we can see now that it's flipped our design over. I'm actually going to cut one of these out in black vinyl, so I'm going to do the Be Kind in black vinyl, and I'm going to do the Mum of Boys #outnumbered in white vinyl. In a moment I'm going to show you how I'm going to save time and cut those both out together, but for now we're just going to click on continue. That's now connected to our Cricut machine, so now we need to set the materials we're going to use. So for this project I'm going to use premium vinyl. The pressure automatically sets the default, but if you drop it down you can select more or less, so I'm going to click on more. That gives us the best cut possible. Now we've set the material, we now need to head back over to the Cricut. So here is my mat. I'm using a standard grip mat, and I've already placed on my heat transfer vinyl. With heat transfer vinyl you have to make sure that this shiny side is down onto the mat, and I did use the brayer, and that's just to help secure it on, because once we start cutting we don't want it to move. As I said before, to save time I'm going to cut both of my designs out at once. So I've put the black heat transfer vinyl at the top and the white heat transfer vinyl at the bottom, and on the screen you just need to make sure that your design is going to be within the area that your vinyl is covering, and for this project it is. So we're now ready to load it into the Cricut, and we're just going to press the flash in load button. Once the Cricut has detected that the mat has been loaded, the Cricut button will start to flash, and we just need to press that and the cutting process will begin. Now that the cutting process is finished, the arrow button is flashing to tell us that we now need to unload our mat. So we're just going to click on that, and that's our mat unloaded. Next, we need to remove the vinyl from the mat, and the best way to do this is to flip over the mat and to remove the mat from the vinyl, and this prevents the vinyl from curling up. Now we've got our vinyl, I do find that it's good practice to trim around the edge of your design, because this will save you time when you weed it. So we're just going to trim around the edge, being careful not to cut through any part of our design. Once we've trimmed down our designs, next we need to take a weeding tool, and we're just going to weed away any of the excess vinyl that we no longer need. If it's cut through properly, this is a really quick process, and it will remove any of the excess vinyl that you don't need as part of your design. Then you just need to go back through and remove any of the centre parts of any of the letters. Now both my designs have been weeded, that is how they look. The next thing we need to do now is we need to prepare our t-shirts ready for heat pressing our designs onto the front. For this part I'm going to use a heat press mat, and I've got my Cricut Easy Press. This is a great little heat press if you're just getting started, and it's super easy to use. First thing we need to do is pop our t-shirt onto our pressing mat, and we just want to press roughly around the area that we're going to put the design, and this is going to help the design adhere to the front of the t-shirt and also remove any moisture that may be in the t-shirt. So we're just going to take our press, and we're just going to press the button, and we're just going to heat it for about 15 seconds. Doesn't need to be too long. Now that that's done, we're ready to take our first design, and we're just going to pop it on the front. Then we're going to measure it to make sure it's positioned. A good way to make sure it's low enough down is to take your hand and to go by a kind of 3-finger rule and try and get it so it's like 3 fingers down. So we just want to raise that up a little bit. That's just a rough guide. Then next we're going to take the tape measure, and I'm just going to measure from each of the side parts because we want it to be quite central. So I'm just going to go from where the material is at the edge and just measure that as well, just so we get a central design. Another way you can do this is to actually fold the t-shirt in half and then make a press line down the centre of the t-shirt using your Easy Press. Then you unfold the t-shirt, and there you have a centre line. And then what you can do is fold your design, making sure it's the smooth sides, not the sticky sides together, because we don't want to stick it together. And then just pinch the corner, and then you're placing the pinched part on the line, and that should also make your design quite central. So that's another easy way to do it, rather than having to measure it. Once you're happy with the placement of your design, we're now ready to press it. You don't need a Teflon sheet to go over the top because the heat transfer vinyl has already got its own protective sheet, but if you feel you need one, you can pop one on. So now we're going to take our heat press, and I do find that the best tip for using these is to actually use it upside down so the cable never gets caught underneath, because if it's that way round, your cable can be a bit clumsy. So I tend to use mine upside down. So we're just going to pop that on. We're going to press the Cricut button and it's going to start counting down. To find the heat guides for the vinyl and for any other products that you might be using, if you go to Cricut.com, then if you scroll down to the bottom, there is a section called heat guides, and that will tell you the ideal temperature and pressing time for different types of vinyl, so that can be quite helpful. And once that's finished, we're just going to pop that back. And it is recommended now that you flip over your t-shirt and you now press it from the back just for 15 seconds, just to help it be secured onto your material. You probably just want to leave it now for a couple of seconds because it is actually red hot. But once it starts to cool down, you just need to start to peel it back slowly just to make sure that it is stuck down. And if any parts aren't stuck down, then you can just pop it back over and press it again. So we're just going to start to slowly peel it back, and as we can see, that's stuck down perfectly. But if any of the letters are peeling up, just pop over the protective sheet and just give it another press for a couple of seconds just to help them stick down. And that's stuck down really well. I hope this has helped you to see how easy it is to customise your own t-shirts using your favourite fonts and possibly your favourite phrases. I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I will look forward to seeing you in my next one. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.